Hey guys, how's it going? So I'm recording here a settings video, and there's not much to it. So I guess I'll go over my settings and go over what each individual setting does and how it can benefit you, how changing it can make things better or worse. So I did one of these like a year or two ago, but I think it's important to go over settings, maybe changes from pro players. So yeah, I'm going to be going over each setting now. So we're going to start with training settings, game speed. Highly recommend putting this down. So if you notice you're playing either fast or slow one day, if you feel slow, turning this setting down can make you feel way too slow, right? Just practice hitting the ball maybe. A lot of things can go into this, right? So I would totally recommend putting that down if you're feeling slow, and then when you put it back up, you're like, whoa, I feel so fast. What is this? It can totally help with feeling faster, or just like practicing, right? Slowing down, maybe practicing some of your like mechanics for resets. You feel me? So this could totally help. The setting could totally help. Moving on, disable goal reset. I just have that on. What this does is makes it so you don't score a goal. Pretty simple, self-explanatory, and if you turn it on, goal scored. Okay. Ultimate boost. If you ever feel like having standard on, I mean, you can if you want, right? But you don't really need. What I recommend for warming up in general is to have infinite boost on. Okay, so it's just practicing hitting the ball. Standard would be okay, but I recommend having a limited boost on. And if you need practice boost management, then I highly recommend standard. But like I said, you don't really need it on. It's not really a necessity, okay? So you don't really need that on. The bottom one, I don't even know, so you don't have to. Moving on to camera. Now, camera is important, very important. So you see how they have these like settings of old Rocket League players. Yeah, these are all just really old Rocket League players. Really old, like Fairy Peak. I think I saw. Yeah. Anyways. Rizzo's in there. Wow. Yeah, so, okay, listen. Camera shake off. Please turn that off. You do not need camera shake. Nobody needs camera shake. Hold on. If you turn it on, nobody needs this. Like, it's so bad. Every time you hit the ball, your camera shakes. Every time you jump, camera shake. Turn that off. Please turn that off. Field of view. I recommend, so, you could go 100. I think you could go 100 to 110. Some people have 109. Some people have 105, 106. So actually, I'd say 105 to 110 is a reasonable. That's pretty reasonable, right? That's pretty reasonable. Your height, no lower than 90, no higher than 120. Some people rock 120. I think that's diabolical. But also all these settings go into like one place. So 110, if you okay, this is where the important thing comes to play. If you want to see over your opponents like this, 110 is super helpful. Okay, but most freestylers mostly have it at 90. I'm not sure what it has in play, but if you watch any like pro players, maybe Dark, he's not really pro, but he has his settings very low, and most freestylers, like it very low. I'm right in the middle personally. I was thinking about changing it to 110, maybe to have better control over my car and changing other settings around. Just test everything. You want to test your waters, see what works for you, and yeah, just see what benefits you as an individual. I have mine as 100, so that's what I like. But what you like might be completely different. So you want to test all these settings in camera. This is very important. Test all of these. Now, if you go into angle, and this is when dribbling becomes, or whatever, becomes this is when dribbling becomes very important. If you have your angle low, like this, you notice how you're level with the floor, basically. You're level. But if you turn it up, like this, you're looking above. You're looking over, right? So if you put your angle super high, it'll definitely be very strange to read the ball in general. This is why you most likely want your angle to, I'd say, whoa, 6, 7? Nah, I'm playing. So I'd say -7 to -3. 3, I would say the absolute max. 7, I would say the lowest you can go. Once again, mine's right in the middle. I'm just an average player. I did have mine at -4 for a minute. But I, once again, tested what I liked, what I wanted, okay? You want to make sure you test whatever you like and whatever you don't like. This is very important, okay? This is very important. Now, if you go into stiffness, so this is basically how, as it says below, it controls how rigidly your camera follows your car. So if you have it all the way max, you don't go back at all, okay? You're locked. You're locked. Oh, hold on. I need to... Yeah, you're locked. But if you make it max, notice how when you go supersonic, your car moves away, okay? This can be like a problem and a solution. It could help you feel like faster, maybe. This is important too. This is very important. So test what you like. You notice how when it's so far away, you may struggle to hit the ball because reading the ball might be harder. You just want to test it out, okay? You want to test it out. If you have it at, I even forgot what I had it at. If you had it, okay. Now, if you have it super close, doesn't move at all. If you have it super far away, moves a lot. Once again, I actually like it to move a little bit. I was messing around with this the other day. So I'd recommend anything you want for this. Definitely not anything lower than 0.3. That's a bad idea, I think. That's a very bad idea, I think. Because it moves super far away. So I'd recommend anything from 1 to, let's say 0.25. Okay, for this one, I added my controller overlay because I wanted to show you how much it can be affected or affect your car. Now, if you go into swivel speed, I just changed it, messing around with it for a little bit, trying to get a better understanding because this is a very important setting. So if you look around, you can see if there's a player over there. You want to look behind you, look around, etc. Okay? This is very, very important. In fact, I might even turn mine up. Now, if you go, put it all the way to 1, I'm moving, oh, actually, it doesn't capture my right stick, never mind. But if you move it, I'm pulling as hard as I can right now. And it's extremely slow, doesn't change for back and forth, extremely slow, okay? Do not recommend having this slow. And the efficiency, I'd say the most efficiency is actually 10. So, I believe I had this somewhere around like 7, 8, 9. I'm gonna put mine up actually to 8.5. It's super efficient having this at high, making sure you see your players. This is very important. So transition speed is basically how fast your camera moves to ball cam. Immediate. I'm pressing it immediately. Happens immediately. It's insane. I hate that. I hate that so much. 0.9, a bit slower. 0.8, a bit slower. I know a lot of people have it at 0.8. I have it at 0.7 just because I feel comfortable with this. I don't move too fast, too slow. It gives me enough time to process. You know, I guess, like, and it also gives me time to see, like, people around me. If it's instant, then I can't see people maybe over in that direction nor in that direction. So I guess one, I don't believe, oh sorry, two would not be okay in this scenario. I don't believe so. I think anywhere from 1.9 to 1.5 would be okay. 1.5 is wicked slow though. 1.5 is wicked slow. Now, moving on. Demo transition time. It's whatever you want, man. It's just basically how fast you get back to your car when you get demoed, I believe. I don't even know. It's a new setting they added. Pretty cool, honestly. I just have it at 0.8 because it's fast. I don't know. Okay. Invert swivel. Just inverts camera. So, yep. Now, okay, these settings are also very important. I'm going to spend most time on the camera and controls. The rest should not matter, okay? Alright, so steering sensitivity. Now, you do not want, you do not want your steering sensitivity above 2. Okay, you do not want that above 2. I think it's too fast, okay? On second thought, I wouldn't have anything above 3, but that's just my personal preference, okay? You can hate on me if you want, but I wouldn't have that above 3. Alright. Aerial sense, this is, I think, the biggest topic of the video. A lot of people are curious about this, I'd say. I don't know if you are, but I certainly am, okay? Now, with aerial sensitivity, a lot of freestylers like to have this at 10. And I'll explain further information soon. So I'll get to dead zones in a minute. But, so, when talking about aerial sensitivity, this basically tells you how capable you are, okay? How capable you are in the air. So if I'm just air dribbling, I'm aerialing super fast, and my movements are super fast, okay? And I could do probably more movement than I could when my sense was lower. The only problem is the control for this sense is pretty hard, and mostly only freestylers would need this for freestyle movements like 360 Mac Tuffs, Penta, Future Braden over here. There's plus and minuses of turning your sense up. You could be more mechanical, but you also can't do certain mechanics like rapids and typical reset maneuvers. So there's plus and minuses, and it takes a lot of skill to master, so I would not recommend having that high. You really don't need your sense this fast unless you want to be a freestyler. I know a lot of people like Mac Tuffs with their fast sense. You don't need it, especially, yeah, you just don't need it, man. It's way too fast, and it's hard to keep control like this. It's very hard. When you have your sense really low, like this, you can't do any movements. You can't do as many movements as you want to do. I'd say, for me at least, you can't do any movements. Well, you can't do some movements that you would want to do. Okay. I would recommend for this. I know some people have it at 1.3, so I'm gonna respect those people, and I'm gonna recommend 1.3 to. If you're a freestyler, 10, correct? But if you're not a freestyler, I would say 2.5. Okay, so 1.3 to 2.5. I'd say that's a reasonable standpoint. Okay, I'd say that's very reasonable. Now, what I was talking about earlier is every controller has a dead zone. Dead zones are, I'll put a photo up right here. Every dead zone allows you to do certain mechanics or certain movements on your controller. So, with circle movement, I think only 4 pros went pro with circle movement, out of the hundreds and hundreds, okay? So, circle movement basically doesn't allow you to do as many mechanics as cross or square. And I believe circle is the default, but some controllers they're making now might have changed that. I'm unsure. I'm on Epic, so I actually don't know what even I'm using. But I believe I'm using crossed or circle. I think. So, oh no, I know I'm using crossed or circle. The difference between circle and crossed. Now, 90% of the players in Rocket League use crossed. There's no reason you would want a circled controller, okay? Now, if you're playing circled, you would want your sense super high up. Future Braden here again. Basically, the higher sense you have, the more movements you're capable of doing. And that's why if you have a circle sense, which means you can't do as much as cross or square, it's better to turn your sensitivity up. Now, moving on to square dead zone. Square dead zone is basically it's controller on a keyboard, or a keyboard on a controller in short. So the square dead zone allows you to do the same mechanics as you would be able to do on a controller. They allow you to do certain precise movements that are advanced. It's an advanced controller movement that you normally wouldn't be able to do or wouldn't be able to adjust. And those are those movements on keyboard. You can't do certain movements on keyboard that you can do on controller. And you can't do certain movements on controller that you can do on keyboard. This is one of the key reasons why someone would turn their sensitivity up. If you ever notice that you can't do a 360 Mac Tough, right? My sense is normal. I can't do a proper cancel or a 360 Mac Tough. I mean, I can, but it's not how the freestylers do it, and I can't stall as well. Now, what these freestylers do occasionally is put their sense to max, because they can't have square dead zone. And the reason they have this is because they could do the same amount of movements. I don't know how to do 360 Mac Toughs. I'm not a freestyler. I don't do that stuff. So maybe go watch another video on Nexus Dragon or Josh or someone. They're nuts, and I'm sure they're worth watching. Anyways, having this sense up allows you to do so much more in the air and do so many more movements that you were able to do before. And you might be wondering, well, why wouldn't he want that? Well, the reason is because the sense is too high and you have to be too perfect. Also, when you're first learning the game, you don't want to have your sense that high up, and you're not going to be doing penta resets, okay? You're not going to be doing stalls, any of that, unless you're like a really hard stuck plat that doesn't want to get better at the game, or every single champ I know. So you don't want that, okay? You do not want that. Having this square dead zone, I'd say is way better than the other ones, because Jojo, one of my favorite players, is the most mechanical. I'd say he was the most mechanical player in RLCS. Now you're like, oh no, Zen, I don't really care, bro. I really don't. It's whatever your opinion is, and I couldn't care less. Jojo was the most mechanical pro ever, and this is because he had square dead zone from the beginning. I'm not sure about other pros. I'll add a link below to every single player that used cross, square, and maybe even their settings. The most common dead zone is cross. Cross is very important because it's just the default controller, and most pros have gone pro using cross. Cross is the default. It's basically what everybody uses, okay? So don't be shocked if you have a cross or square. I mean, it's cross or circle controller. It's just the default, as I'm aware. I will also go in depth with this topic way more when I post another video on tips and tricks, okay? I'll go way more in depth with this stuff. So go check that out. It'll be out in like a week or so. So if you're watching this a week after I posted, then go check out the video. I'll give a bunch of advice on how to rank up. Now, people tend to put a higher sense so they could get that square movement. Cross is the default, and there's not much to it. Mostly everything that's important for sensitivity. Alright, so I think I said most of and let me know in the comments if you need clarification on anything, and let me know if I said something wrong, because I'm sure I did. It's a lot of information in one video. Okay, so for controller dead zone, as it says below, It says controls how far your stick must move from center to affect steering and aerial control. Exactly how it says. Couldn't say any better, to be honest. Thanks, Psyonix. If you put this super high, you have to move your stick super like wide in order to move your car, and it makes yourself feel super stiff. So I recommend having this low, unless you want to feel stiff. I mean, oh, I have to like move my whole stick in order to move. Okay, this sucks. You do not want this at all. Okay, so I'd recommend 0.20 and lower. Seriously, 0.20 and lower. You can do way more movements. I could barely move my car when I'm having this at max at all. And if I have this low, 0, I can do super things, bro. I'm actually so cool at this game. I could do a lot of things, okay? A lot. But I wouldn't have it any lower than 0.5, to be honest. And I wouldn't have this any higher than, I'll say 0.25. So, yeah. Okay, so moving on, controller dead zone. Controls how far your stick must move from center to dodge instead of double jump. So the higher, this means the higher you have it, the higher chance you are to dodge, and the lower you have it, the lower chance you are to dodge. So there's some situations you want to backflip, I'm going to be honest. So this is all personally because it's pretty much a skill gap if you like, I think so at least. It doesn't matter what I have it at. Because I don't backflip. Once you reach that level, you don't backflip. Because you mastered your settings practically. Now, if you're backflipping too much, that's not good. You want to change it up. Yes, you want to make it lower if you're backflipping, okay? You want to make it lower if you're backflipping. I'll say it again. Yeah, that is dodge dead zone. Yeah. Controller vibrations. Yo, I found out my boy, who's GC2 and playing the game for like, I don't know, 8 years at least. He uses vibrations. Yo, like, what are we doing? Anyways, have that off, or else I'm actually gonna find your family. Ball camera mode toggle. What is hold? You have to hold. Okay, yeah, have that toggle, bro. You got me fucked up. Have that toggle. Mouse sensitivity, I don't, doesn't matter. I'm not on keyboard, so yo, go to some keyboard player. I don't know, man. Moving on. These are my settings. Have it whatever you want. I have these settings for a reason, so like if I want to make that higher, cool. If I don't, cool. This doesn't matter really, okay? I'll just keep it on the screen for a minute. So, okay. Recently I got a new PC and I had to redo these settings, so future Braden will let you guys know if this is accurate or not, or he'll put up a photo. Okay, these settings are personal, but this is what I would recommend. I recently changed my settings, and it's also what you prefer, so you got to keep both things in mind. It also depends on how well your game runs and how well you feel in the game playing with certain texture and world settings. Motion blur. Motion blur, if you notice, going from camera to game, it's super blurry. Don't recommend having on. I was rocking it for a while actually, so don't recommend having this on. You should definitely have it off. Render quality, high quality. Yep. And then always play full screen if you're playing stretch res, you're on something. I did that one time too, but you guys don't know that. These are all audio settings. These are mine. I like my stuff super low and voice chat super high so I could be able to hear my teammates when calming. Play soundtrack and menu. I should have that in training because the shit's fire. Also, go check out It's So Fire. Me and my boy listen to that. Also, best Rocket League music out there. I see Jinxie vibing to that, so I'm glad he was vibing to that. Quick chat. These, if anybody wants to see my quick chats, I'm not really mean. Yeah, I'm just don't really have opponent chat on too often, and I actually have match chat, teammates and friends only, and allow quick chat with teammates and friends only. Don't let people get in your head. Don't be a pussy, bro. You're actually wild if you're complaining. Like, who complains in Rocket League, bro? It's every other game in my lobbies, bro. It's really bad. Now, one thing I will say about people getting in your head, you just need to have the mentality to like understand, okay, I'll get the games back, but also you can't be upset that another grown man's saying something, bro. They're either a kid or like grown man or teenager, whatever. Yeah, a teenager like talking shit and not having a job. Okay, so you can't be getting mad at these guys. Seriously, guys, come on. Like, and stop throwing a fit. Win your games. Stop blaming it on your teammates too. Shut up. Nobody really cares about your problems. If you're throwing a hissy fit, quit the game. I'll say that now. Quit the game. Nobody gives a fuck, and you gotta stop complaining. So that's what I'll say about that. I guess that's the overview of the settings. Thanks for the guy that recommended this, because I did want to do this for 2026. I haven't done this in a long time, but I'm very glad to make a settings video. Now, I will be posting a video in a week or so about going over very important things. It's going to be a part 1, and there's going to be 3 parts. Now, these are all very important parts to ranking up, and it's a whole list of things that helped me rank up as a person. All right, or I mean, as a person that plays Rocket League. So, highly recommend checking those videos out if you haven't, or you're watching this after. Thanks for watching the video, guys, and I really appreciate it. Let me know if these settings were helpful at all, and I will see you guys in the next one.
East and the west, racking up on my breath, power on me, I'm feeling just like a Tesla. Too much tree, the smoke is making my chest hurt.